I'm reading this book right now called How All Politics Became Reproductive Politics. So the section that I'm reading right now is like how the Reagan administration began demonizing welfare. But really what happened in the 70s was there was this push by mothers and like women working in the home to get wages for housework, basically to get compensated for all of the invisible domestic labor that they were doing that took up their entire day, dishes, laundry, cleaning, everything that a man wasn't doing that they were staying at home to do. But then, starting in the 80s, real wages dropped, and as America became more privatized, wealth started to be hoarded by the top, and it was not trickling down, as we know. The rise of Reaganism, Reaganomics, trickle down economics that didn't actually work, and more women had to enter the workforce just to get by. Single incomes from their husband was not enough money to cover the costs of raising their families and covering their housing and medical expenses and everything involved with being a human. So women had to work. And because wages were dropping and it was harder and harder for regular people to get by, a lot of people had to go on government benefits. Specifically, a lot of women were on AFDC, which was Aid to Families with Dependent Children. And then the Reagan administration started associating blackness with poverty and this myth that the majority of people on these government welfare benefits were black people, which was not true. Most of them were white single mothers. But then once there was this myth that there were poor black people using all these government benefits and not working, it became really easy for white women that did have to get jobs because, again, the economic situation was so bad for regular people that they had all of this resentment, and the Reagan administration gave them a very easy target, which was single black women. But the myth of the welfare queen and the idea that more black people were on benefits and lazy and weren't working allowed white women who realistically were angry and disenfranchised that they had to work at all because up until this point their husband's income was enough to support their family. Now they had to work because the wealth was being hoarded at the top. But the distraction, because it's always a fucking distraction, the distraction was like, no, look, it's the poor black people that are using your benefits and that's why you have to work harder. But really it wasn't. It was the fact that it was the elite that were hoarding the wealth and women had to work. And it's just like, oh my God, there's been so many lies that have been told that support this mythos of like the fucking American dream, but it never fucking worked.